Hi everyone, AV here. I'm happy to showcase my Hexblast Ascendant miner in Sanctum League. We have over 260% movement speed, auto-targeted freeze, while maintaining a respectable 60+ million boss DPS. While this build was designed to absolutely tear up Sanctum, it's also a great mapper and bosser. This video is a showcase, not a guide, since I built this character in just under 100 divines but would not be able to replicate this in the current economy. Nevertheless, I think the build mechanics are unique and interesting enough that certain concepts could be translated into a lower budget version. This character is centered around life stacking for the purpose of scaling damage and berserk duration. For those unaware, berserk provides a massive movement speed bonus, in addition to more spell damage in the divergent quality version. In order to use berserk, however, we need a source of rage regeneration. We achieve this through Comb's Spirit, which translates life regeneration to rage. Most non-berserker builds typically achieve 700 to 1000 life regen, which corresponds to 7 to 10 rage per second. With this build, we get up to 25 rage per second in certain scenarios by using a combination of high base life, the Saboteur Ascendancy notable for miners, and sources of life regeneration and regeneration rate. With such high berserk uptime, we scale additional movement speed through our boots, guerrilla tactics, and the Raider Ascendancy notable for onslaught. Getting to max frenzies is achieved using Grand Spectrum since we can't gain frenzy charges through Inner Conviction from Militant Faith. We simultaneously scale damage with life using Rathpith Globe and Dissolution of the Flesh, which is a tried and true combo for scaling spell damage and crit chance with life. Please see Captain Lance's Relic of the Pact video for additional details, which I'll link below. The Dissolution of the Flesh allows us to negate the downside of the sacrifice portion of Rathpith, since our actual life value doesn't matter, only its reservation does. We also get access to Pain Attunement since we're constantly at 1 HP. We use a combination of Comb's Heart and a pseudo 7 link with the Essence of Hysteria mod to further boost our damage. We also use minimum frenzy charges through Grand Spectrums and Inner Conviction from Militant Faith as further multipliers. For our choice of damage skill, Hexblast mines are very well suited for both Sanctum and mapping. Hexblast instantaneously hits cursed targets regardless of mine position. Hexblast also has access to penetration, wither scaling, and can freeze, which allows it to instantaneously disable any mob on the screen. We can also make use of the plus 3% to spell crit modifier found on Helm to boost the low 4% base crit of Hexblast to 7%. We double curse with Frostbite and Elemental Weakness, and apply cold exposure from a relic to ensure freezes against all targets. Balance of Terror also allows us to apply 15 wither stacks almost instantaneously for 1 jewel and gem socket only. Another hidden advantage of a 7-link helmet is that the Essence mod and Spell Crit mod both don't have mana multipliers, allowing us to effectively run a 5-link in mana cost. We combine reduced mana cost on the Militant Faith, flat mana reduction on jewelry, mana regen from power charges, and flat mana regen from Unveiled Life on jewelry to outsustain our mine throwing cost through regen alone. This is a huge problem that almost all miners must solve using a mana flask. Without this restriction, we have an additional utility flask slot for mapping, and don't need to worry about running out of flask charges in Sanctum. Defensively, we layer close to the bare minimum in order to be comfortable during mapping, since this build is designed for Sanctum where defenses are more or less irrelevant. We have berserk damage reduction, molten shell, 19k armor with flask and determination, and 19k evasion with Grace, Divine Blessing, and Flask. We have a measly 20% spell suppress, although you could get more by trading off other stats. Damage over time effects are particularly deadly for Dissolution of the Flesh, since we need to avoid damage for 2 seconds to unreserve all damage taken in the form of life. You get bleed immunity through a Corrupted Lori's Lantern, which also provides movement speed, chaos resistance, and unlucky damage protection while on low life. Corrupted Blood immunity is obtained using an Abyss Jewel. We reduce Ignite duration to 23% with a combination of Soul of Aberrath and Solipsism on a relic, since we can't have Energy Shield due to Dissolution of the Flesh. We are not immune to poison, but can trade off evasion or armor on Flask to achieve this while clearing. We also achieve Curse immunity through Balance of Terror, with a trade-off of casting the Spare once every 10 seconds in certain maps. We cast the Spare anyways for additional damage, so this doesn't come at much of an opportunity cost. For map clear, we use Swift Assembly since we can instantly kill most packs with 1 click. We also use Blasphemy instead of the more commonly seen Profane Proxy, since our character moves so fast that the Skitterbot aura often falls behind our character. Mapping quality of life is also a reason why we use Divinarius over a rare wand or dagger with +2 to level of gems. The area of effect from Divinarius feels extremely good while mapping, while the single target gain from a wand is marginal at best. This is also why we anoint Skittering Runes instead of Overcharge, since this build has damage in spades. For bossing, Swift Assembly is traded off for Minefield, which has a much slower throwing time, but much higher effective mine placement rate. In return, we get extremely high mine aura uptime, which is important for high impact mines. Each mine applies an individual double damage aura, so we want to max out the number of placed mines as long as possible after starting a detonation chain. We also switch Blasphemy Frostbite to Skitterbot Curse aura, using Profane Proxy in place of Lori's Lantern. Skitterbots provides more mine damage and chill on the boss, which we need since we have Hypothermia in our Helmet link. We could also replace Hypothermia with Trap and Mine damage as a solution. Hexblast can also shock, often for values equal to or above 15%, so we don't need to worry about the shock aura. For Sanctum, we swap one socket for Rejuvenation Totem, which gives us additional rage regeneration in guard rooms and the final boss. It also serves the dual purpose of being able to block boulders, which occur often on the 4th floor, RIP Junground. Both the mapping setup or the bossing setup work equally well, although some may find that Swift Assembly makes it much easier to dodge stray projectiles from off-screen guards. For those concerned about the miner playstyle, the automated targeting of Hexblast, and the ability to put detonate mines on left click, since we don't care about long detonation chains, makes this build play extremely smoothly. Just hold down move and right click once you see a pack. Another important note is that Hexblast mines cannot detonate without targets being available, so we can feel free to hold down left click on bosses and not waste mines before the boss becomes targetable. There are additional optimizations that could be made to the build, including swapping to a rare chest with 20% max life and flat life, which would give us access to 3 new suffix mods, Eldritch Implicits, or other rare item mods. We also get 6 additional gem sockets. You could also put Zealotry instead of Grace on Divine Blessing for single target. Another option would be to put Elemental Equilibrium on your relic instead of Solipsism, and use a non-cold Elemental brand for 10% additional penetration, since Hexblast itself will not apply Ele Equilibrium. I'm sure there are plenty of additional options, so I'll end my thoughts here. That about does it for the build explanation. I'll leave you with additional gameplay footage and hope you learned something from the showcase. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below or hit me up on Reddit at ubudsicles. Many thanks to my friend Patrick, or Sakagami Hei on PoE, for putting together all this gameplay footage on only 2 hours of real playtime experience, due to my computer limitations. I couldn't have made this video without his godlike gameplay.
Resistance will Your absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
Are you ready, my champion?
The fires of 1,000 suns.
I shall extinguish them all.
You do not possess a marginal hatchling. The fires of 1,000 suns. Incineration. The hatchling surprises.